Hey, welcome back here to the Central PA Pour. I am Brett, and if you can see to my left, Kevin is back in studio from traveling, and to my right is Mr. Dave.
Dave's here.
Yeah, 2024, guys.
Not long away.
Where the hell did 23 go?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I can't believe we've been doing this a couple years. We're at season 4.
Couple 3.
Yeah, we're in season 4, so.
Yep.
Hey, don't forget to look us up wherever you get your audio podcast at Central PA Pour. You can also check us on the link tree. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Central PA Pour. So we're having fun doing this little venture. We are in the new year, 2024. We do have some guests sitting in studio, and we have an interesting story that we're going to learn about them. So let me introduce them to our studio. Welcome to the Central PA Pour.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Who do we have sitting across the table from us?
Well, my name is Dean Yawkey.
And I'm Katie Yawkey.
All right, welcome. And you guys are here with Whiskers Brewing
Yep.
out of Newville.
Correct. Little Newville.
Whiskers. That I'm assuming that is something with pet friendly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you guys have pets. Is that what you just wanted? I'm just trying to get a gauge where the name came from.
Well, actually, the logos are 2 bulldogs. And those are, one was our bulldog and one is my daughter's bulldog.
Okay.
And so they became immortalized as our logo.
Oh, okay.
Jingle and Nittany.
Jingle and Nittany.
Jingle is the white bulldog and Nittany is the white and brown bulldog.
Or did they help you brew, Dean?
Actually, they had been, yes. They have been in. They don't do much but nothing, which is basically what bulldogs do.
Keep us company.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. And you guys started in 2021 or 22?
Well, the licensing and everything started in 21, and then we were hoping to be open in March of 22.
Okay.
And then we got a little sidetracked.
And that was, I think, a fire, correct?
Correct. It was on February 28th. It was easy to remember that date. And less than 2 weeks from that, we were supposed to open. We had the beer brewed, the food ready, everybody hired, and less than a week before that, we had received from Amazon a little 8-port USB charger, which we were going to use to charge all our POS tablets. And evidently it caught fire.
Really?
Oh, my God.
And it was in a very short period of time. We actually, my general manager was there until 3:45 that day, and I got there at 4:11. And by that time, she had left at 3:45, and by 4:11, we were on fire.
Holy shit. That's...
And I think part of the problem was, I should also say that I have a camera system set up so I could see the inside. And I actually could see inside looking at exact position where that unit was until 3:56. So where it's even less amount of time, about 15 minutes or less, that this happened. But our bar is a epoxy bar. And I think what happened when this thing caught fire, it just had fuel.
Oh, my.
And boom.
Wow.
It's like a hibachi table.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I looked in the window, the bar is an L, and you saw a flame that was probably about 5 inches high, just going down it and around the corner on the bar.
You mentioned hibachi. The Japanese chef wasn't standing there flipping,
that's
flipping
kind of what
at
I
your
expected. It was-
socket
Could have
at
been.
you.
Could have been.
I tell you what, I remember the story.
Yeah.
Because we had mentioned about you guys opening up, and then a week or two later was like, we had a story. It was like, holy shit.
Right.
Wow.
Literally, yeah. I mean, what goes through your mind? I mean, everything.
Well, so you have to understand this is sort of like my second venture, and the best way I can put it is that when I decided to do this, I had to make sure that I could do it with my own means, and what that meant was no bank loans.
Sure.
So in other words, it was devastating, but with insurance, everything was covered completely. And I kind of knew that in the back of my mind. I'm like, I think we're okay, because even if we can't open, it's not as if I have these loans that I have to worry about.
But it was tough because what was going on with that? It was because we did all the work. Like initially, like I did the painting.
It's
You know, we
heart-wrenching.
had somebody do the flooring, but yeah, he like hooked everything up. I mean, we pretty much did it all. And then after the fire, we're like, we're not doing this again. Somebody else is going to do this. So, and my daughter, you guys, I'm not sure if you've been in yet, but we have pet paintings on the walls, and she painted all the pet paintings. And fortunately, before the fire, I videotaped all the paintings to show her where we had them placed.
Yeah.
You know, so then she could remember what to repaint.
Oh, that's good.
So just some little things, you know, that we were able to get back because we took photos or have videos. But
I can't imagine what, like Kevin said, what's the thought process, what you were thinking. Like, you know, it's devastating. But you guys bounce back.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm a very impatient person. As in, you know, I want to get things done. I'm a workaholic in a way. I wouldn't say necessarily workaholic. I'm a busybody and like to be busy.
yep.
And so for me, the whole renovation process was great because I enjoyed it. But I was, the plumber, the electrician, not to some extent. There was a guy there that was doing all of the major stuff and stuff that had to be inspected and stuff like that. But like building the bar, you know, or framing, you know, that was all stuff I did.
And you had all the beer brewed. The kitchen was ready to go.
We did, and we have part of the reason, you know, that it's pet themed is we want to be pet friendly. So we have an outdoor courtyard area that we have astroturfed, and we have tables and umbrellas where people can bring their pets.
Nice.
So we utilize the outdoor space to get rid of the beer that was saved.
Well, exactly. So what happened was I remember that was a Monday night, and I get up on Tuesday morning, and Katie and my other daughter was there, and I'm like, what are we going to do with this beer? And they're the ones who said, hey, let's sell it. Let's put it on Facebook. And so we put up a tent outside in that area real quick and put it on Facebook, and we had people 3 blocks long.
Yeah, the community
It came
was
in.
incredible.
It was
I mean, they were so
amazing.
supportive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
speaking of the community, I remember the story you guys, I saw it on Facebook that you guys were doing that. And I was going to ask, how much of the beer did you lose? But I don't think you lost any.
No, we didn't lose any. In fact, the funny thing was I had a nut brown ale that was fermenting during the fire. And so the next day on Tuesday, I go in and I look down at the bucket of water. I'm like, holy crap, it's still fermenting. It might have fermented a little faster last night.
Yeah. But Newville, you guys are the first brewery in Newville
Well-
for how long?
Well, since 1939. So Prohibition would have shut everything down in 1939.
Yep.
And it just so happened that throughout the years, nobody had ever ventured into this or tested it or tried to see, because they are a dry township. And the thing that they didn't know, and I didn't know, but as soon as I heard that they were going to have a vote, which would have been March 21, they were going to have a vote to go wet. I start to do my research only to find out that as a manufacturer in the state of Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter if you're in a dry township. The LCB will still give you a brewing license because you're a manufacturer. And you're allowed to sell what you manufacture, both for on consumption on premise and to go.
Oh.
So it made no difference. But it was great that they went wet, but it wouldn't have made any difference once I found out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And damn, we might have to do that here in Dover. But you mentioned about the community. So the community really backed you guys to
yeah.
rebound.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I mean, they were buying anything we could sell. They were buying our beer. They were drinking it there, buying beer to go. They were T-shirts, anything. They're like, what can we buy? What can we buy? So it was,
That's great to
and
hear.
they waited in line. It was March. So it was probably 50s, 60s. It wasn't too bad, maybe 40s.
It was. We were really lucky. It just happened to be a little nicer that
yeah,
day,
it wasn't a
even though it was
snowstorm or a
March.
blizzard or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dave.
I was just when rebuilding, did you change any?
Well, so again, when I was saying I'm a little bit of an impatient person because I always like to do things and get stuff done. There were many things that were beneficial in being patient, which was difficult for me. For instance, the windows in the front were these old bay windows. I don't know, 60s or 70s. The actual building was built in about 1890.
Oh wow, it's an old building.
And so
yeah.
when it burnt on the inside, luckily, it's what they refer to as a balloon frame. And a balloon frame, if you don't know what that is you basically have, let's say, a 2x4 in the middle of the wall, and you have basically wood slats on the outside and wood slats on the inside. And that forms the wall, and inside's a cavity. So when they had to gut everything, they had to gut it down to the studs on the inside, only to find out that luckily the fire never got into those cavities, because that would have been a total loss of the building.
Right.
There was also no insulation.
So now you got insulation.
So, I mean, the insulation was technically the drywall, that was attached to these wood
absolutely.
slats. So now we're completely insulated. With the windows, they were these old bay-style windows that didn't open up. And now we have the type of windows that telescope open. So now we can be completely
Like
open
accordion,
air.
they come the whole way.
That's awesome. So out of the ashes came something good.
And in the original layout, the tap system came from the ceiling. Down, I kind of put it from the ceiling coming down the wall. But now that they had to remove that wall, because that wall was pretty toast, because that's where that unit was. So I said to him, listen, can we do a 2x6 wall instead of 2x4? And that way we can build the tap system into the wall and bring the lines in and everything, which we did. So now the tap system is much nicer. It's built into the wall. Upstairs, we didn't have a completely separate tap or bar. And this time we did, so now we have a great little rental room, which has its own bar and own tap system as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So,
Did you get any kind of remuneration from the company that built the?
No, I tell you what, I did contact
That's a
Amazon
story.
just to see.
Yeah.
I'll be honest and tell you that insurance was great. I don't own the building. The gentleman who owned the building actually asked me when I moved in what insurance I had, and he went and got the same agent. And so we had the same agent. So there was no fighting between agencies, because it was all just Erie Insurance, and they were fantastic.
Yeah, Erie's pretty good.
I'm not sure that I lost anything.
That's
Other than time and the knowing what we had and what we had done and the effort we put forth. But
And the guy that owns the building, Jeff Bowder, he was incredible. He's like, what do you want done? Tell me how you want it done. So we were working together the entire time, and he said, you want to do this, you want to do that. He said, now's your chance to make any changes.
Yeah.
So
the actual cold room, our walk-in cooler, we had bright tanks in there, and there were bright tanks in there were kegs in there, and whenever the firemen got the fire out, they come running outside and they say, Dean, the beer's spraying all over the bar. We assume it's under pressure. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it is. Jeez. So we went into the cooler, opened the door, and it's 35 degrees.
oh.
yeah, that's what
Cooler
we said.
somehow stayed at 35 degrees. So we, turned everything off. And so that's why the beer was all saved.
Oh, I thought you were going to put a tap on and tell the fireman, hey, just come on by.
Well, so what we did though, although we did sell it that following Tuesday, and then we sold again that following Saturday, just to kind of go through some of the inventory. As we got into April and May, we still had inventory, and it was cold, because what they did was within 2 days, they got electric just to that room, so it could remain cold. And being March, it helped staying cold.
Yeah.
But then what I ended up doing was I ended up putting a hole through the wall to the outside, and I actually ran lines from the bright tanks and the kegs out to jockey boxes.
Okay.
And then we were able to be open when it was nice out over the summer and continue to sell. We just put it on Facebook, hey, we're open this Friday and Saturday. It's going to be nice weather. And that way we would continue to sell.
I do remember seeing that.
Yeah.
So,
And we served the beer, and we had a couple of local establishments that they would deliver pizza down if somebody could order from the courtyard, from our courtyard, and then they would just deliver, or they would run up and get it and eat. So, yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. I do believe we have a beer sitting in front of us.
we do.
So tell us a little bit about this beer here, Dean.
Well, this is called Mastiff Vanilla Stout. This is a recipe that I made when I was homebrewing with one minus, and that's the bourbon. Mainly because as a brewer and not a distillery, I can't add the bourbon to it. But Yeah, so it's a homebrew version that was upscaled.
Is this a flagship or is this a once a year release? Or
No, we've found to keep this on tap. This,
Okay,
this
so this
seems to
one is-
be yeah.
so when we do come, this will be on tap.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
'Cause
yeah.
we like-
on tap and a little fresher than what we're drinking today.
We like the dark stuff. We do.
Okay,
Cheers. Mastiff Vanilla
stout.
Stout. I get the coffee and that roasted coffee notes out of it.
Yeah, not as much vanilla as I'd like.
Just a little bit. That's good.
It is pretty good. It's really good.
Usually, most of my beers that are like a flavored, like a vanilla, or we do a blueberry IPA. We also do the Great Pyrenees. We'll try later. That to me, I've had so many beers that are so overpowering with the flavor that most of mine are designed to be extremely subtle.
I was just going to say that because you can still taste the levels of the flavor, but it's you're like you said, it's very subtle and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
smooth and nice. I like it.
So you were mentioning you can't put the bourbon in the beer.
Well, right, I can't manufacture it with the bourbon in the beer, or I can't put it in the secondary and store it overnight in a keg.
But this would be really good in a barrel aged version.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I
12
said-
months would be a perfect.
See, and my problem is our space. We are so small. I don't. I did mention that we're a 2-barrel brewery, so
Okay.
we may be the smallest one you've ever had on here.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, might be.
But, you know, we have room in our basements, and we wouldn't mind trying it every month. You know, just
We'll tell you how it goes. No, that's very good. It's definitely get a little hint of the vanilla, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But the stout is definitely there. It's a nice,
Coffee.
smooth, coffee-ish stout on there. That back end, it's really good.
that is good.
What would you do different if you said the vanilla's not there? And I understand
Oh,
because you
I
don't
actually-
want the flavors to
No,
overbear
actually,
the beer.
I wouldn't. And I would. What's on tap right now may just have a slight more vanilla, but it's not going to be hugely noticeable.
Right.
But because, like I said, I'm not sure how long I've had this and when this was actually made. Because this was sitting in my personal collection at home for a while, as are all these cans.
Did you say you brought extra of this? I'm sorry.
So you started with a brew kit.
Yes.
So Katie created a monster.
she absolutely did.
Did you think it was going to save money?
You know what? I just did it for something for Dino to do, and I just thought it'd be fun. And we had a little sign in the basement. What does it say? Something brewery, Yaki's Brewery.
Oh yeah, you got me a sign that says Yaki's Brewery.
Yaki's Brewery, and we have like a little bar set up. So I just thought that would be the extent of it.
You keep him busybody.
Exactly. I mean, our other business keeps us busy as well, but I was thinking maybe retiring at some point, but then this came up, so.
Well, no, I joke with her about that because when I had this idea, that's exactly what she said. She said, "Well, aren't we going to think about retirement sometime soon?" And I said, "Oh no, this is retirement."
Now you had another job, or do you still have that?
I own a company called Phantom Entertainment.
Okay.
And with Phantom Entertainment, before COVID, we were quite large in that what we would provide is entertainment services for colleges and schools. I mean, to the extent, when I say large, to the extent where in 2019, we did the National College Championship in Santa Clara, California, where we took out, might have been a mechanical bull, some kind of bouncy, and a thing called a stunt jump, which is a 28-foot ladder, metal ladder you crawl up, and then you just jump onto the equivalent of a moon bounce bag. And we still do that to this day, but COVID made us a little smaller. But the great thing about it is the company's doing well because not only did it make it smaller, it made us smarter.
Right.
And so
Work
we
smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We feel we're actually doing better than before COVID in a smaller environment.
Because you don't have
Less
as many
travel.
employees as well, because we
Right.
probably had, 40 part-time employees, and now maybe we have like 20.
More like 20 now.
So
Yeah.
that's your company.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Been doing that since 1979.
Wow, you've been around for some time.
I
Been doing
actually
that.
started it when I was a junior in high school under the same name. And at that time, though, it was a disc jockey company where we just did disc jockey type services.
Sure.
And then throughout the 80s and the 90s, we would have entertainers out every Saturday, if not during the week, maximum of 10. So we could be doing 10 different events, 10 different weddings on a Saturday somewhere.
Oh, boy.
And then the end of the 90s, we first invested in a Velcro wall. And the funny thing is, you might have remembered seeing something on David Letterman. That was where it first debuted. And then we jumped into it and got those. And now we have roughly around 150 different inflatables, a bunch of mechanical bulls, mobile zip line. We have mobile escape rooms.
Wow.
Spider jumpers, like the trampoline things where you...
Yeah.
To go back a little bit, did you personally climb that ladder and jump? And
I have done it. Yes, it's it's funny. It's the scariest thing, but it's very safe. You know.
Yeah.
But it just that
The pad's kind of like what firefighters would use if you're jumping
Yeah.
out of a building.
Yeah. The funny thing about it is that it looks like you're falling a much greater distance than you really are, because you're at 28 feet, but the bag is at about 10 feet.
oh,
But when you're up there,
You can't.
it just looks like you're diving off the Grand Canyon. But you know,
I know when I did my first bungee jump off one of those units, it was in here at the York Fair. I did 150 feet. And that big mattress looked about
Oh,
the
okay,
size
yeah.
of a half a dollar.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And, you know, they always say, I'm going to count to 3. And the person that was in front of me, they
don't
came
go-
back
oh,
down.
Yeah.
Well, he opened the gate, said 1. I'm like, done, because the longer you stand there and
Right,
think about it, you're
No.
not going to do it.
That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But
But so you went from home brewing on a kit,
Correct.
which you were telling us off air before when we sat down here, it was almost like a Keurig.
Yeah, it was called Pico Brew, and what it was is you got it as a kit form where you had, I'll call them pods. You had a pod that was all the hops, and then you had a larger pod that actually had the grain in it, and you stuck it in this plastic container and you stuck it in the Pico Brew, and the Pico Brew was connected to just a little 5-gallon corny keg. And it did everything. It pretty much did everything. And then I advanced from that to they had a bigger unit, which was a Z1, which actually is more like brewing, because although you did put stuff in containers for the pods or for the hops, you were mixing the grain, you were doing all that, so it became more like brewing. And then I did get a Zyborg, I think it was called, or Brewzilla. I can't remember which one. It's a Grainfather knockoff. So I could do, I think mine did up to 9 gallons.
Okay, so you had a big unit. Yeah, ours is
Yeah.
just a little 5-gallon, and that was a step up for a Christmas present last year
yeah.
because I wanted to start making my own recipes.
But the more you make, then the more you have to drink. So.
Yeah, we're finding that out. That 5 gallons of beer does not go very far.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna kind of let the cat out of the bag. So she got me the beer kit in December of 2019.
Okay, so this
Okay.
is fairly new.
So I am a very inexperienced brewer.
But
the way I look at it.
I did see you traveled and you went to another brewery to learn and
Yeah, that was
enhance
fun.
your skills.
Yeah, a guy named Tom Hennessy runs an immersion course out in Colorado, Montrose, Colorado, a Colorado boy brewing. And we went out and spent a week with him, and we did absolutely everything. Not only the brewing processing, but also business stuff. And they were pretty much an open book. They actually helped us identify what our profit and loss should be, what our expectations should be. And I honestly don't think I'd be brewing the beer that I'm brewing today without having done that, because there were just some little things that they taught me that I never had expected.
Mm-hmm.
So while he was brewing beer, I was like following the manager around, learning a bit about running a restaurant / brewery.
Which
idea.
we've never done anything like that. We have no
I never ran a
experience.
cash register before, so I mean,
So I think it's great that you are doing this together, even though she wants to retire. But how did that acquaintance how'd you get to that acquaintance to be able to do that?
Well, at Phantom, we have to work together already. Because I'm doing a lot of the things with Phantom, whether it's equipment or working with employees and staff. Whereas at Phantom, she does a lot of the HR stuff, scheduling and things like that.
Scheduling,
so
payroll, hiring,
we were able
yeah.
to exist in the same office and
still
work
married.
together.
And you're still married. But how did you get to know the brewer? Where did you meet them?
Oh, Tom Hennessy.
Yes.
Research, right?
It was, I tell you what, it was just, I was looking online to figure out how can I help myself? How can I learn more and do more? So 2019, I got the beer kit. COVID hits March of 2020. Okay.
Yep.
And Phantom, we were pretty much dead in the water. To give you an example, in April and May, we generally do 1/4 of our gross revenue of the entire year in April and May.
And you weren't deemed necessary.
No.
But the thing is, in 2020, because COVID hit and we're all based with doing schools and colleges, they all went online.
So we
did
nothing.
Goose Egg
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
April and May.
Yeah.
And I actually have to tell you that it was my first taste of, so this is what retirement would be like. And I was bored, and I was brewing out the wazoo. I mean, I was brewing multiple times a week and just trying different recipes, and I probably threw half of what I made out.
I was getting ready to ask you, what'd you do with all the beer? Do you got like this huge
I'm
system
telling
in
you.
your house?
No, but the funny thing was I probably threw half of it out. The other half of it, probably only half of that was really edible, but I drank it anyway.
We've done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We tried to do a kit beer, raspberry. I did a Kolsch kit.
Okay.
And tried to put raspberry to it, and it didn't come out too well. It was drinkable.
We kept saying it was good.
Yeah.
But he was reading books, looking online, and that's how we got
That's how I
involved
found
with
Tom
Colorado.
Hennessy. Yeah. And he has a lot of well-known breweries under his name that throughout the world. One that I can think of here in PA, Yards.
Oh, so he's with Yards Brewing.
No, they came out and did his course.
Oh, okay.
And there was another one I can't think in Reading, and we actually visited.
We stopped there. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
the guy sold it though afterwards. We showed up and he wasn't actually there.
It's like
He
a little
already
old
sold it.
schoolhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, but
It wouldn't be Chatty Monks or anything like that, was it?
No, I can't remember. It was a fire hall, an old fire hall.
I thought it was an old schoolhouse.
No, it was a fire hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you met somebody and they
Yep.
were open and you went out there to expand.
Yep.
So this dream of opening your brewery from this beer kit, being inexperienced as you're calling yourself,
Right.
that's a big step.
Well,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, the thing that I kind of quickly understood was when I did this research on licensing to identify that, in this day and age, if you're a restaurant and you want a liquor license, you have to go find one that you have to buy.
Right.
And
Right.
it could cost you anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million to get that license. Whereas a brewery, you basically just have to show them financials and paperwork, and they got to think you're okay. And next thing you know, you're going to be able to get a license. So the cost of getting a license is very minimal compared to like a restaurant or anything like that.
Yeah, because what I'm understanding and talking to some of the other people is if you're getting that, you're doing just the Pennsylvania spirits, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different license than just a liquor or regular
Well,
liquor
it's,
license.
we're as a brewery, so we're licensed as a brewery. It's a regular G license, but because we're based in PA, we can also sell any distilled products from anybody who manufactures in PA, as well as like wine. We've chosen to work with Big Spring Spirits out of Bellefonte. They're just great people to work with, and their stuff is good. And they've been in business long enough that they've gotten to the point where now their distilled products are good. and it was funny because when the guy first came in and we reviewed some of the products, he said, Dean, he says, you're hitting us at the right time. He said, if you would have hit us when we first started, it was horrible. But what are you going to do? You can't age.
Yeah,
So now everything's aged properly and it tastes really good.
that's good.
Yeah.
And they're Big Spring, and Newville's in the Big Spring School District, and
Yeah.
the Big Spring.
We
what
just
is
thought it was a
Spring
play
is
on
there, so
words
yeah.
that people see these bottles that say Big
Big
Spring
Spring,
Distillery,
yeah.
and they're like, "Where's that in town?"
Yeah.
It's not, but it's
Yeah, I was
funny.
going to say Big Spring's a little small.
Yes.
So how's business been since the relaunch?
Which it's been great. So what we did was after the fire, again, we had done the 2 days to kind of get rid of some of the beer. And then over the summer, when we had nice days, we'd continue to do beer. We finally got open September 22nd. And what we did, we could have probably opened a little bit earlier than this, but we timed it with Oktoberfest. Yeah. So we do the true Oktoberfest as it is in Germany, which is the 3rd week in September.
Okay.
So that was our goal. That was our opening for the inside, and then we had our Barktoberfest ready to go. And then 2 months later, November is when we finally got the kitchen open. And it's been amazing to me with food, just the difference that even that has made in terms of bringing people in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've mentioned that those who have a kitchen do seem to do more better than just a regular tap room,
Right.
to try and survive.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Because normally when you go to drink, you do want to eat something.
Right.
Yes,
You know, right?
We were looking for a
I
cook.
do. I like to eat.
We were looking for a cook, and I truly believe we got a chef.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
he's fantastic. We do fairly simple foods like flatbreads.
I saw that on there. Yep.
Paninis, but I'm telling you, the flatbreads to me, and I watch him make them, and he is just amazing what emotion he puts into creating these pizzas. You know,
He's into it, yeah.
And people seem to.
And he has his own ideas, and yeah.
Well, you kind of said it, having that small kitchen,
Yeah.
that opens up the variety of your customer, your clientele
Yeah.
coming in, because it's not just the drinkers,
Right.
it's the family, it's the dogs,
Right, right.
it's the different generations, the different age groups.
Yeah, next summer I'm hoping to put like something dog friendly on the menu, like hot dogs or burgers or
Well,
something.
so
you know.
you'll think this funny. What she's talking about is actually having on the menu that you can order something for your dog.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ground beef, hot dog, or dog chow.
That's that new commercial out there.
And the thing is, people often treat their pets, like their kids.
Yeah.
We
you
do.
know.
Yeah.
And so we think that might be a hit.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
You might be on to something.
Because they already
there.
get water and they already get treats. So, yeah.
Yeah, our staff has been told that when pets arrive outside, that we are to attend to the pets before the humans. So the pets get their water and a biscuit before the humans get their beer.
I think one of the funniest commercials that I saw was that it's a Chewy commercial where that little Chihuahua dog and the big dog's like, "Oh, that's the peanut butter box."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love
yeah.
that commercial. So now that I have to take medication, I'm like, "Oh," she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Filling my peanut butter box."
There you go.
Oh my! So it looks like we have another beer sitting here. Sure. Tell us a little bit about this beer.
Well, this is our Irish Setter Red Ale.
You get the theme, right?
I am
they're
getting
all
the theme.
dog or cat or whatever named.
It's all
And-
dogs,
yeah.
even though Whiskers is on a cat, so it's all dog themed.
Well, no, dogs have whiskers.
Well, I know, but I'm
Yeah.
just when I hear Whiskers, I'm thinking
you're
of
thinking cat.
of a cat.
Yeah.
Like
Well, we have a lot of cat photos up, and we don't have any cat names, do we?
Actually, I don't know that we
I don't
truly
know.
have cat names on the beers yet. So that sounds like something we need
My
to
daughter's
consider.
pushing it, so yeah.
So this is a Irish red ale,
Basically an Irish Red Ale, correct.
and it's called Irish Setter. Tell us a little bit about this. Is this a staple, or you can see
This is
it's
also a staple.
Nice amber color.
It is.
And this is one of my favorites that I make. Just the flavors that I get out of it is something.
Cheers.
Cheers to the Irish Setter Red Ale.
It's smooth.
Oh man, that's
It's very good.
One of the things that I wanted to try to accomplish when it came to being in Newville is that I knew right away that when people walked in, that in Newville they have no idea what a craft brewery is, and that people would sit down and the first thing they're going to say is, "I don't understand your menu. What's like a Bud Light?"
Yeah.
And so I knew that many of my beers had to be something that was drinkable and not hoppy, or it just wouldn't fit with the community.
yeah, because that's a misconception. Oh, and they hear craft. Oh, I don't like all that hoppy beer.
Well,
That's
whenever
me. Like when we go to, is that what you were going to say?
I was just
When
gonna
we
say
go
it.
to breweries, I'm the one that the bartender hates because I say, "What do you have that's like a light beer, like a Corona, like a, Miller
That's my
Lite.
wife,
And
yeah.
they're sitting there giving me these little samples. No. And, so even some of this, I'm the same way.
My wife's
I
like,
don't know what to- yeah.
Well, we'd always laugh that my daughter and my son, we'd go to the craft breweries with her, and we'd always make her go up and order, and we'd stand back because we didn't want to be thought of being in the same group. But what I saw is that so many of the breweries would not have something that she could drink.
Yeah.
And right away, and so I should step back and say, so COVID hit. And all of a sudden, COVID's inside only. You can be outside with, but you won't have COVID. And so what we would do is we would travel around and we would actually support breweries. We'd go and I can't tell
Sit
you how many
outside in our
times.
winter coats.
Oh, in
We
winter
were there
coats.
too, yeah.
yeah, we
just
did the
to,
same thing.
just
Yeah.
to support. But to me, this was all research.
Oh,
And part of the research was seeing what they were offering and understanding. And I have to tell you, I was not an IPA guy at all before this journey started, and now I am.
Yeah.
I like
Same,
it.
yeah.
But we would go into a brewery and we'd send her up, and she'd say, "What do you have that's like a Miller Lite?" And right away, you'd see the waitress go, and I'm like, "That's the wrong impression."
right.
You want to be able to say, "Hey, we have this and this and this." Not that you're kind of half disgusted because they don't get craft beer.
Yeah.
So in many of my beers, that I would say at least half, that it's designed to be very drinkable and not hoppy.
Right.
Nice.
So do you lager any of yours? Do you have the capabilities of lagering a beer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I
That's
didn't
my
I
favorite.
didn't bring any loggers. Come to think about it.
Well, the only reason I ask is, not a lot of places, not everybody can lager the beer. Because it's a specific.
My favorite's a Mexican Chihuahua lager.
you have to, it's got to be at a certain temp for X amount of weeks
Yeah.
to get it properly lagered. But for that Bud Light or Miller Light person, you'd want to lean them towards more of a Helles lager, which is a light beer.
What we usually do when they come in,
Or a Pilsner.
we'll offer them either my blonde ale or we'll offer them the Mexican. And usually 9 times out of 10 they choose a blonde ale.
Over the Mexican
over the
lager?
Mexican when they want to do a Bud Light.
I choose a Mexican because we put a lime in it,
Put it on.
It's really close to being like a Corona.
Yeah. I'll
My
do that with
system,
the wife.
although we're only 2 barrel, my system is completely glycol controlled. So it's a unijacket system. So we're able to lager and keep stuff at
Right in the tank, yep.
50, 54 degrees for lagering, and not a problem.
That's good. Yeah, I'll do that with my wife. You said you'll send her up, and I'm sitting. So when I do go out, I have to find a place that has food and
Yeah.
something for her.
Right.
Right.
Outside
yep.
the beer.
Yep.
But I'll be like, "Oh, honey, you got to try this."
Yeah.
And she'll be like,
That's me.
No,
That's
we
me.
love that. This is that.
That's what I do.
That's her face. We all laugh about. We're going to
I don't
get
like
the
sours.
Face.
I can't drink sours either. So.
Yeah.
"What are you shaking your head for, Dave?"
It's true.
I am not a sour person.
Come on now, you were secretly admiring the sours.
Yes, I was. Right, sure.
It's funny because we're two opposites, Brett and I. I'm very impatient. So we'll get into a place and I'll give my wife about 6 seconds to figure something out. And then I'll just go up and get her something. And Brett's so calm and collected.
Because he wants to stay.
My wife's just used to me.
Yeah. No, man, he wants her to stay there so he can have a couple more drinks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the question is, "Are you okay to drive?" "Yeah, I've only had 4. We're good." "Will you pass the test?" "Well, honey, 1 beer, you don't pass the test."
Yeah.
0.08. I mean, that's just sniffing the bottle cap.
Yeah.
Just because we like 10% or better. Right?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like reading the label. Just your 0.08.
But we prefer the heavier, darker stuff. I mean,
Okay,
the
yeah.
barrel aged stuff is what kind of kick-started us down this cobblestone road, so to speak. I mean, the Goose Island, the Boulevard barrel aged stuff. It just
Okay, yep.
that's what really pushed us down this. But like, my palate is completely expanded. I will drink everything and anything under the sun.
Yeah.
I might not drink a lot of it, but I'm going to drink it.
Yeah.
And if I give it a low score, it's not that it's a bad beer. It's just it wasn't for my palate.
Right, right.
wasn't your
yeah,
cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you have that on tap? I mean, because
Yes,
we've heard from
everything's-
brewers that don't like Untapped. They do like Untapped.
Well, now listen, I have to tell you that we're all on Untapped, and at first, when I was getting reviews and they were 3.5 and 4, I'm going, oh my God. And then I look and I'm like, oh, Trogs is getting 3.5.
Right. Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because we actually made a beer that we don't have here today called Pointer Pale Ale. And although it is a true pale ale in terms of the alcohol, it tends to, or the ABV, it tends to almost seem like an IPA, but it is a pale ale. But I made it specifically because I had so many customers saying, we want something more hoppy, something more bitter. And I've told the staff, I said, if somebody wants to try the Pointer, please make sure they understand it is going to be bitter and it's going to be hoppy. And then they do. And then they leave a review. It was bitter and hoppy.
And they give you 1 star.
Yeah, it should be. Hey, that's a 5-star because it's exactly what you said you were getting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And it's the same in my business. You know, you get it's Google reviews, so you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, my lowest is 3.25, and 3.25 is like, okay, I didn't like that.
Right.
But it's not saying it was a bad
Right,
beer.
Right.
It just wasn't. And if I do rate something low, I'll describe in the description why.
Oh, that's
Right.
nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I just won't
Good.
leave the
Yeah.
Yeah.
the 3.25 there
Right.
and go on.
But after our initial learning curve, I don't even think we do a low number. We just won't put a number to it anymore. At least
I still check them in and number them. I'm usually in the 3.75 to 4.25.
yeah, me too.
I've only had a couple 5.0s.
Yes. McGarrett's.
Yep. So to me, a 5.0 is like it's that fucking wow factor.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That was delicious. So
Yeah.
that's a 5.0, and I've only had a couple.
Yeah.
I don't even give my shit 5.0s.
Yeah, 5.0 is just a thank you, sir. Can I have another?
Yeah.
The one Kevin never got to sample.
Yeah,
One from Trace.
Yeah.
that's a whole different story. You know, I don't show up because I'm working. You know, I got to work for a living, and these guys are here drinking. Well, you should have tasted this. Oh, you didn't even save me a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to save you a little bit in a glass and just put it up there on a shelf and just leave it there. And about 2 months later, say, Kevin, here's your.
Here's our 5.0.
Anyways,
So outside of the full-time job and now the second full-time job,
Right.
what do you two like to do for extra activities, or when do you even have time?
Well,
We like to travel, scuba dive.
Yeah, scuba diving.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's.
where did you learn
That's
that?
all right.
That's my goal. That's my next goal in life. I want to learn how
West
to
Shore
do that.
Scuba.
Yeah,
That's
West
where
Shore
we
Scuba
learned.
West
and
Shore
Enola.
Scuba.
Yeah. So way back when I was a kid, we're talking like 12 years old, my dad, we had a pool and a friend got my dad interested in doing scuba. And so he actually did all the course of scuba in our home pool, although he never went anywhere with it. He just got the certification, never did anything. But he had the equipment, so I would play. I would play in the pool with the equipment. And so I think it was around 2014 or 15 when I said, hey, I want to do this because I just remembered so much growing up playing with the equipment. And so I did it, got certified, and then immediately made the rest of the family get certified. So we're all certified.
And that
so we
keep-
go
the
on
ki- yeah.
vacation, we can all scuba dive together.
Oh,
cool.
The kids keep us busy. I mean, now the last one graduates in December, but with the sports, the field
Yeah.
hockey, the football, the baseball, the softball, you name it,
You're
you were
busy.
running, every night. So
And then it stops, and then you don't know what to do.
right,
Yeah.
So we do a brewery.
Yeah, they got a brewery going now, so yeah.
Well, the other interest is your shirt that you're wearing there, Penn State.
Yeah.
We love to go on football.
We're all
gonna
Penn
bring
State
it up.
grads.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the scuba diving, I might doing in a pool. You ain't going to catch me in the fucking ocean.
But see, here's the thing. A lot of people say, oh, I'll be claustrophobic. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're claustrophobic is because you're enclosed. And yes, when you get in and you're a brand new scuba person, you're going to breathe too much.
Right.
And then you learn. But it's really pretty vast that when you're looking around like, oh, I just got to like slow my breathing a little bit and everything's great. But look at all this.
You
That
can
ain't
go,
the-
and
that
you
ain't
can
the
go
reason.
like only 15,
Okay.
20 feet. I mean, you don't have
Right.
to go 60,
Yeah.
80 feet.
That's not the reason. There's sharks in that damn water.
Oh, we've done shark diving.
No,
fed
thank
'em.
you.
We actually did a shark dive where we were all in a circle, all the divers were in a circle, and there was a guy in the middle feeding the sharks, and they would just come and swim by us. And they were teeth shark. Now, I won't say they're great whites.
They were like
more
bull
like bull
sharks, nurse
tiger
sharks,
sharks,
yeah.
nurse sharks. But the thing with it that had me a little uneasy was that we're in regular wetsuits and gear, and this guy's in the middle in a metal mesh suit.
Uh-huh.
Where's our suit? It's a metal mesh suit. But
No,
the
thank
sharks
you.
don't like our bubbles.
Yes.
So that's the key.
Yeah.
Well, there would be a cloud around me because I'd have probably shit myself.
I don't think they're attracted to shit. It's more,
You never know.
No. That's one thing Jaws did me in back in the 70s.
Right.
I can't even watch those movies. My wife's death-defied of snakes. At least I will watch the shark shows, but you ain't going to catch me in that water. No, thank you.
So is the club? Is there clubs around here for that? Scuba
Yeah,
diving?
West Shore Scuba has a club, and you can get your dive certification, and they also offer trips. So
I'll be on there tonight.
Yeah, like I said, a friend of mine does it too that I play racquetball with, Chuck Mullen. I don't know if you know him or not.
God, the name rings a bell, but I can't say.
He's definitely a certified trainer.
Okay, instructor.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you brought up Penn State.
Yes.
Sorry, Dave.
Can you,
we're all Dean, I,
Wait a
all
minute.
our
See, I
kids
can't
are
see
Penn
the
State
cup.
grads.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me,
Hey,
here. I'm going to turn this
It's
around.
still Pennsylvania.
I'm Syracuse.
So you guys, you're saying you went to Penn State?
Yeah, we both did.
We both graduated Penn State. We
we
met
met.
at Penn State in a fraternity.
Okay.
In a fraternity.
At a frat
Yeah.
party, I bet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who did the keg stand?
I went to a different school. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
and all our kids. The last one graduates in December, and they're all Penn State grads.
So they all went to Penn State.
Yeah.
So it's a whole
Yeah.
Penn State family.
It is.
You bleed blue and white like I do.
We do.
Frustrating as hell
It
rooting for
is.
them.
Yeah, I look at it this way. They have all my money.
Yeah, literally.
All your money.
But they're
That's-
one of our biggest customers in the one business.
Oh, are they
Yeah.
are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go to a Penn State game, outside Bryce Jordan Center, we would have stuff set up. Like we would have the mechanical bull and inflatables and stuff like that. So we get a little back.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I mean, going to Penn State's not cheap.
No.
No wonder you got 2 full-time jobs.
I had a son that went to Penn State,
There you go.
even though that both my wife and myself went to the University of Pittsburgh. He went to Penn State,
That's funny.
That was out of spite.
and he's still spiting me.
So yeah, watching Penn State football can be very frustrating.
It can be, yeah. So I don't think it's been named who they're going to possibly play New Year's Day, but
I think they just did. I think it's Ole Miss.
oh really?
And it's
Oh.
not New Year's Day. I think I saw on the way here. It's Ole Miss, and it's on the 30th at the
Oh,
Peach
okay.
Bowl.
They were
Okay.
supposed to
Yeah.
get one of the New Year's
Think
Day
you're-
6 bowls, but oh well. They can't get over the hump.
Nope.
If they want to be relevant, they need to get past Ohio State, Michigan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And until they do that, they're going to be middle of the road,
Right.
mediocre.
Agreed.
Yep. Well, my concern, and don't want to get too far into football, is Oregon, Washington,
USC's all coming to the Big Ten.
Oh my, we might have to get used to maybe 7-5 instead of 10-2.
Yeah, I mean, was it Michigan and Iowa played, and didn't Penn State cream Iowa this
Yes.
year?
Yes.
Which was a first. 'cause
31-0.
That was usually a tough
Tough game. Yep.
They
Yeah.
played Michigan State. They always play them at the end of the year.
Yep.
It's always a tough game. They always seem to choke those games,
Yeah.
and they cream them.
Yep.
But they can't get over the hump. I don't know. We could sit here and talk Penn State football until we're blue in the face.
And
I
still
might-
be angry. Yeah.
I might be drunk by the time we're done.
I heard Jim Harbaugh's allowed to back on the field.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we never really talked future plans. Is there anything?
I don't know.
No,
I haven't thought about it.
In both ventures, I have good managers, especially with Phantom. So I'm able to do what I want with the brewery. No, I mean pretty much those two. You know,
Yeah.
we'll stick that out.
Nice.
And so the building you're in,
Mm-hmm.
where Kevin was going, this is where you're at. You have no maybe making it bigger, moving to a bigger facility, or you're
No,
happy where you're at.
I'm very happy where I'm at because of one main reason is that we have no interest in doing distribution.
Right.
And I know a lot of breweries, they end up being so large that their model has to include distribution or they can't survive because they can't sell enough in the tap room. With our small tap room and our small taps, our small brewing system, it seems to be perfect. With Two Barrel Brewing, I'll give you an example. The next beer we're going to try is the Pit Bull. Okay. Well, the Pit Bull, the amount of grain that I put into that is about the equivalent of four 55-pound bags of different grains. Okay.
That's a lot of malt bill.
Well, not really, not for Two Barrel. So it's 2 barrel and we're doing about 200 pounds. Imagine if it was 10 barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to be carrying that in. So I'm good with my size because I can handle it.
And that's the key. You just said it.
Yep.
You're happy with the footprint you got,
Yep.
the production you got out,
Yep.
the profit you guys are making. Because let's face it, you go in business, you want to make a profit.
Right. Yep.
It's why you go into business, even though the
Yep.
consumers sometimes think you're supposed to be non-profit.
Right? Yeah, really.
We got to hit that soon.
You're in business to make a profit.
Yep.
And I think we've seen some breweries that have closed because
Yeah.
they've expanded way too fast
Yep.
and over expanded what they wanted to do
Right.
too quick, and they couldn't maintain it.
Because you get
That's
caught
right.
up in it. You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
It's really a little bit of a fallacy that the distribution can work for a smaller brewery or even some of the breweries, even like a 10 barrel brewery, because they just really can't do enough kegging. They make money for every keg they sell, but they don't realize that if they stopped right there, they would be in the hole.
Right.
Right.
It's almost robbing Peter to pay Paul sometimes is what I feel as distribution is.
And we've had a couple guests on here. They're very happy with their
Yeah.
small footprint.
Yep.
They don't. There's no need for them to expand.
I'm
they
a
don't
big
want it.
thinker. I always have been. And I knew that having the building that I have and the system that I have, it would contain me from my normal big thinking. And it's great the way it is.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because Yanni,
Mason Dixon.
Mason
Distillery.
Dixon.
you know, he's changing up some things and putting it on Facebook, and I think that's perfect. You know, he knows his size. He does the outside sales if he needs to during the holidays, but he knows how big he is, and you know, just change up a wall color, you know, just enough to get the appeal going. And you know, I think that's great when, you know, when you come in and say, "Oh, I'm gonna, I got one scheduled to open up next year." That scares me. You know?
Right, yeah.
Well, speaking of beer, you'd mentioned this one. Let's get into this next one. This is an IPA, you said.
This is Pitbull IPA. Now, before you taste it, this is for the IPA drinkers who want that hoppiness.
Okay, well, it's got a little bit of a yellowish coloring to it. Not quite pale,
Right.
like some IPAs, and it's definitely not a hazy.
Right. Yep.
So, and what do you call this one?
This is Pitbull IPA.
And is this one of your originals?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
And this is one of the staples that we always have on tap.
All right.
Yeah.
So cheers.
Cheers.
To Pitbull. All right, I do get some of the hop and the bitterness on it, but it's not overbearing.
No, not at all.
Yes, it is.
Good. We got somebody.
I'm getting a little sweet note out of the back end off that green.
You
too.
actually do too.
Yeah,
yes.
me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that hop and bitterness on the front of the mouth, and then I get a little bit of sweetness of that malt coming on, lingering in the back.
It's funny. This is mostly 2-row and hopped with Centennial.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
basically,
got to make sure I got the right because I don't taste that hoppiness. I think
I
it's
get a
just
little bit at the very
I think
beginning.
it's smooth.
So
I
you're-
like it.
you're just saying one Centennial. Now you're grabbing the pear.
Yeah, you're grabbing the pear.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure.
So
Like
you're
father, like son.
Well, no, actually, during the brew process, there are 3 different times we put Centennial in.
Okay.
And then it's dry hopped with Centennial.
So it's basically one hop throughout the process.
Yes, one hop throughout.
So this
yes.
you could call this almost a single hopped IPA.
Yes.
And I like
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
we've mentioned that a couple times because there are several brewers that are doing, they call them garage series or whatever, where they're concentrating on the hop, and it helps people understand what that hop
Right.
brings.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Dave?
I I'm going to put on tap that this is very hoppy and very bitter. No, I'm sorry. I was being funny.
I actually like it.
Yeah,
I do too.
it's actually drinkable, but like I said, it is hoppy, and I'm not big on the hoppy bitter beers.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And I taste it. I do taste the bitterness and I taste the hoppiness in this.
I'll wait till he puts it on, and then I'll go that much higher to even it out. Because for IPAs, to me, it always tastes like burnt tire, and this is pretty darn good.
That's interesting. Okay. And I'll have to think about that next time. Burnt tire.
It's better than what my wife called that one Carpet Mart beer.
Carpet Mart.
Yeah, because you know how when you walk into Carpet Mart, you smell the chemical of the
Oh,
carpeting.
yeah. That's funny.
We were at a local brew pub with Kevin.
Yeah.
And I got a flight, and I told her to taste it. She goes, "Oh my god, it smells like Carpet Mart."
That's funny.
And
That's
said
funny.
it really loud. So anytime we go in, I'll just joke with her. "You want the Carpet Mart beer, honey?"
That's funny.
She doesn't. His wife doesn't mince any words.
No, that
Boom! There it is.
that's actually, like I said, I get that hop, and I'm trying to. It's a little bit of a pine note to it. A little bit. I'm thinking. What does Centennial bring to it? What are some of the highlights of a Centennial?
Oh, that might not be something I can answer.
But it does have a little bit of that, like a dry bitter to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. It's not pine.
I don't
It's just
taste
like a
pine.
grapefruit maybe. I'm not sure.
I tell you, I know Centennial will do that sometimes. Yes. To me, this is the beauty. I love like when I have a new beer out and I walk around in the brewery and I'll ask, "What did you taste?" 'Cause I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Everybody's
And-
different.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing
Yeah.
how people will taste different things.
And
Absolutely.
I have yet
Yeah.
to do an IPA, even though I'm going to. I just have
We're
yet
going to have to
to
get over
do
there.
one.
I kind of really like this, and I'm not an IPA guy.
I gotta say, you always like
Between here is Altus, I love their stuff too, and I like this.
You
really do.
This is a 7.8% ABV.
Maybe that's why I like it.
That's almost like a double
Yeah.
IPA.
Yeah.
So that's one of your originals.
Correct. Yes.
So
Yeah.
and I'm assuming it's a big hit.
It is.
It
We
is.
keep it on tap all the time. It's we have 4 bright tanks, and then we have the rest on keg. So our tap is actually a 12 tap system. The 13th tap is cask ale. So we actually do have cask ale. But yeah, this is one that's always on tap.
I can see why. For people who like a hoppy beer that has a good flavor to it. Now, I'm not fond of it, but I will admit that it does have a pretty good flavor. But it's
Dave,
little-
you're rating out of 5.0.
it's a little hoppy for me.
Hey, Dave. Here, have a fucking Snickers.
Well, actually, no, that's good because
I want a moment,
I've achieved that hop and bitterness so that's good.
Yes.
it's not a bad review. Don't worry.
I tell you what, you guys, the story's been interesting.
Absolutely.
From starting out, getting ready to open, and the fire
Oh yeah.
puts you back.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you
You
can't.
can't make your stuff up. But it didn't let you get you down.
No.
You perceived and conquered. And that's what a true entrepreneur would do. You get knocked down, it's not forever. It's you get back up, and what can I do different, and how can we make it better? And I think you guys have accomplished that.
Thanks.
It's a
I got to bring it a next step though, because cheers to the customers, the listeners, because whether you, Haymeyer, Jens,
Exactly.
the ones that have problems, people come together.
And that's where I was going. It's like
that's amazing.
I know the community stepped up, and I also know the beer community stepped in.
Oh yeah, there were so many people that contacted me.
Yeah.
We
to
had the
see
same with,
what
like,
we could
Hema,
do
too.
and help. And
Because we went and visited him like the day after.
Oh, did you?
So yeah.
Yeah, I called Brooks that day when I heard about it, and he just said,
Yeah.
it's a fucking mess.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And you get to, and we feel privileged to be incorporated into this little beer community.
It is.
so to speak, because they'll reach out to us, or if we reach out to them, and they are more than willing to talk to us now.
Yep.
We feel privileged of what we've started that we've gotten into this community, and it's a great community because it's not a competition.
Right.
There is plenty of, and you guys are in Newville. I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of places in Newville or in the surrounding area.
Carlisle's pretty big.
Yeah, Carlisle has a bunch.
Yeah.
One I'm still trying to work on, but we've had several of them on. And any time that there's a problem, the community helps step up.
Oh, everybody's been so
Absolutely.
supportive, and it is amazing because I love the fact that it is not a competition.
What I like is what you guys just said. You make, I don't know how to say it properly, but you make your beer around the community.
Correct.
Right. Whether it's wanting to get something like a Miller Lite or a lesser of an IPA or hoppiness, it's just so genuine.
Thanks.
I do a lot of traveling, and it's so interesting because, you think you're educated enough, but you always find something new when you're tasting.
What are you
Oh,
thinking?
sure.
I know every fucking thing.
I don't know shit. I wish I could describe half of the flavors I'm tasting.
No, I think it's awesome. Now, do you get into any collaborations with any of the brewers?
Well, it's interesting you say that. Not yet. However, Lindgren, we're going to do something.
We're working with trying to get him to.
Yeah, Michael. With us, we can't really do the collaboration. We need to do it at someone else's facility, and with his upgrades to the facility.
I think that's why we have yet to get it.
He's been busy.
I don't know how
He's
big
been
they are.
busy.
They're
The
big.
bank is it the bank he's been reconstructing?
Yeah. We need to get up there.
Well, we've been
no,
up there, and we've been up there a couple times. First time he went out of his way, and he gave us a tour and everything. So
I think that's awesome, and that goes back to that community.
Oh
Yeah.
He hadn't yet renovated the room that you sit in, but now I know that he has. So I'm curious to get in and see what he's renovated.
Well, we would love to video your collab and
Oh, good.
we've done that already.
He
No.
said he was so busy with getting the new equipment up and running. He said, "Dean, we'll get together. Don't worry." And I'm like, "That's great."
And that only helps promote you.
it does.
Yeah.
And when they say, "Yeah, let's do a collaboration," now you've established yourself.
Yeah. I guess.
we'll see.
coming from a beer kit that was like a Keurig.
Yeah. Exactly.
You guys have done well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Any last comments from you guys?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Well, tell us
happy to
once
be
again
here.
where they can find Whiskers Brewing and what you guys are all about.
Well, we are downtown Newville, Pennsylvania, literally on the square of the one single traffic light. Our nemesis is parking. However, there is a small municipal lot behind us, and there's street parking all over town, and it's really easy to find. It's just at first you might not realize that the parking is there. And we're in a building that was, again, built in 1890, so it's an old building, but it looks all modern inside.
Nice.
All right. And you guys are on Facebook, Instagram?
Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, we have website, whiskersbrewing.com. Yeah.
Even though I got it up here.
Yeah.
I got it right in front of us.
Okay.
But I wanted to hear it from you now. Dean and Katie, we've had a great time. Dave, any last comments?
Well, being from Dover, I can identify the one traffic light.
No, wait. Dover does not have just one. There's like 10 on a half-mile strip.
If you include the entire borough, but I mean, if you talk about
That's
the
borough.
The traffic light at Tom's, right?
yes, that's the traffic. And in fact, it was kind of like funny. What was the name of the comedian? David
Earl Jones.
Earl Jones.
Earl David Reed.
Earl
go.
David Reed. He was here and he did a stand up and he said he was going to take a collection so that Dover can get a second traffic light. But I just thought that the story of your demise with the fire and the whole way you rebuild it and everything, that was very interesting. Interesting.
Kevin, any last comments?
No, I just thank you. I mean, I said kind of what I did, with all the communities coming together, and After the first of the year, we'll be there, or at least I'll be there.
Great.
Yeah, we like to try and visit.
Yeah, that's great.
We don't make any promise of when.
And we're not always there. We try not to be. So.
I do a lot of traveling, so
Well, we'll send you a card so that you could roll out the red carpet and
Well, we do
How
have
about the beer mats? Would that work?
The beer mats
that'll work. I like it.
as long as you don't reuse them on the bar, for We do have one more beer, and you said this was a special beer.
Yeah, this is called our Great Pyrenees Pear IPA.
Now, Great Pyrenees, that's another
Pyrenees.
Pyrenees.
Yeah.
Okay,
That-
I almost
that's
said
a dog breed.
That's a
almost
dog. That's
said
a
pyramid.
big white ones.
The Great Pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah.
So this is the Great Pyrenees. So this is a
It's a pear IPA.
pear.
And it is the profile is an IPA, but I think you're going to find that it's not that hoppy. And some of you may get pear, some of you may not. It's meant to be that subtle. But it does come in at 7.2%.
It's a fan favorite. That's one of their favorites.
It is, and it's a little scary because of the fact that it's not as an IPA that it doesn't have that hop come through. We have to be careful how many people can have.
sure.
You don't see a lot with pear.
No, not at all. That's what to me makes it a little bit unusual.
That's awesome.
But it's not real. Again, I'm not sure when this was made, based on the can.
Is there dates on the can?
Is there a Best Buy date on the can?
So
until it's not carbonated.
This has been
79.
well aged. This has been well aged. So,
yeah. So.
Dean, Katie, thank you for joining
Thank
us
you.
here on the CPP. And if you're out there, we're going to raise a glass with Dean and Katie from Whiskers Brewing in Newville, and from myself, Dave, and Kevin from the Central PA Pour.
Right.
So if you're out there,
Cheers.
let's raise a glass and let's all be bonded by beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.